Hello and welcome to SCLD's podcast. I'm Jane Baker.
And I'm Andrea Brumbaugh.
And today, Andrea, we like to take a moment to remind everybody about our art show.
Yes, mini and virtual art show. And the submissions are open now.
We are open, so do your creative thing and send it in to us.
Yeah, and go to our website, scld.org, if you need more information on how to submit that.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing your artwork
Yeah.
at the art show in February. So submissions are open. What else we have going on this week? Also happening tomorrow is Picture Book Chat.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's on January 19th, 1 o'clock. And that is Mary Ellen and Sherry Boggs, and they go over picture books for your kids. Mm-hmm. Some of the latest picture books that maybe you don't know have come out or new, and it's kind of a critic's review, isn't it?
Yeah. And that shows on our Facebook page on Wednesday, 1.
That's great. We also have a score workshop coming up on January 20th, and this is at noon, and this is small business resiliency tips and tools to help get through the pandemic for small business owners. It is free. It's taught by SCORE. Register online, and we do one of these every month. Mm-hmm. So, and it's great. It happens during the noon hour, so take a lunch and learn some things. Feed your mind and your stomach at the same time. You like that, didn't you?
Yeah,
I did. Let's see. We also have online Storytime Live happening on Thursday, January 20th. And that's at 6:30 p.m. And then again on Friday, the 21st at 9:30. And that's regular Storytime, just like they do live, only it's on Zoom.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So that's happening on Friday. So that's what's happening this week. And I know you have been checking out a lot of DVDs lately.
I have.
Yeah.
I've been kind of really into documentaries lately. And the library is helping me feed that addiction because we have so many DVDs, just tons of DVDs at all of our library locations. And also you can watch some movies and TV shows and documentaries and things on our digital resource, Hoopla.
Yes.
Yeah, there's that on there too. So that I found some documentaries on there and some that I've been checking out too. And so I wanted to share some today.
Oh, looking forward to it.
Yeah, so just got a few here. This first one is Sushi, the Global Catch. And I'm kind of bad sometimes about reading the synopsis. So I just kind of look at it and think, oh yeah, I want to watch that.
Okay.
And so I was expecting this to be, kind of a lighthearted information about sushi, making sushi, sushi chefs and how they come about, because I know they have to train for like a long time in Japan. They spend years learning how to become a sushi chef.
I did not know this.
So they do talk about this a little bit in this documentary, but they also talk a lot about the sustainability of sushi because with the rise, because it started in Japan and then it's become really more global in the past 30 years or so, and a lot of the fish that they use have become kind of threatened or endangered. They talk a lot about, I think it's the bluefin tuna, and how it's, basically it's going to be wiped out if it keeps going the way it's going. And it talks about, it talks about everybody in the industry. They're different people, not just the sushi chefs, but the people who go and fish for the tuna and everything, and the people who sell it when it comes on land.
Everyone down the line.
Yeah, and then there's a lot of people that they've talked to about that want to try and make it more sustainable. And so there's people who have sushi restaurants that are only using sustainable fish, and then other people who are trying to farm the fish in certain different ways that's more sustainable and everything. So it's pretty cool. And they also had a website that you can go to that you could actually look up what fish, if you're going to eat sushi. I love sushi. So if I'm going to eat sushi, I can look up which ones are better for me to eat. So I can make sure that I'm, trying to eat the more sustainable fish. So
Gotcha.
yeah,
Wow.
pretty cool.
Well, that sounds like it was a good find.
Yeah, it was. It was definitely not what I expected, but but it was. It was very nice.
And you found these just by going into the library and thumbing through.
Yeah, there's a section, the nonfiction. A lot of people don't realize we have a whole nonfiction section of DVDs because sometimes they're located a little differently than where you find just your regular movies and everything in the library.
Gotcha.
So there's all kinds of. It's not just documentaries. There's travel and all kinds of different nonfiction DVDs as well.
Nice,
so,
nice.
Yeah. And this one I watched with my 12-year-old son. We really enjoyed it. A Year in Space and Beyond a Year in Space. It's about astronaut Scott Kelly, and he's retired now. And he also has a twin brother who was also an astronaut. And Scott Kelly went in space and stayed in the space station, International Space Station, for almost a year. And he was the first person to ever have done that.
Wow.
And while he was there, he took, blood tests and different kind of tests to just kind of see what happens to your body in the long term, staying in space in the long term. And his brother was on Earth and doing the same kind of tests, his twin brother. So that way they could kind of see what happens to your body in space for that long period of time, because eventually they want to, send people to Mars or wherever, and they need to know all these kinds of things before they can do that. So the first one was about his time in space, and then the second one is more about how the new astronauts are coming on and what they plan to do and how they're going to use his data to try and get there.
Fascinating.
So, yeah. And I believe he has a book as well that you can get from the library that it was an autobiography kind of thing about his time in space.
Yeah, that's fascinating.
Yeah.
I might have to get that one, check it out.
Yeah, it's really neat. This one is pretty well known, I think. Maybe not everybody knows it, but this one I heard about many years ago, never watched it, finally watched it. It's called Grizzly Man, and it is about a man, his name was Timothy Treadwell, and I believe he was an actor first. I can't, don't quote me on that, but he then became an advocate for grizzly bears. He would go around into schools and teach for free about grizzly bears and because they're threatened, and just taking care of them and just giving kids more information about them and everything. And he also had some companies that he had that would help to protect the grizzly bears. And then also for 13 years, I believe, during the summers, he would go to this place in Alaska and he would basically live among the grizzly bears. He would camp in just a tent like you normally camp in. And he got to know these grizzly bears pretty well. He had names for all of them. And so this documentary is basically his footage from when he's there in the summers and seeing all these grizzly bears and talking about how he's trying to protect them. And Werner Herzog, which I don't know if you know who he is, but any Mandalorian fans, he's the one who says, "I would like to see the baby." He was the director of this documentary, and so he kind of goes around and talks to different people as well about Timothy Treadwell, because Timothy ended up being killed by he and his girlfriend ended up being killed by some grizzly bears while he was there during the summer. So it's just kind of a crazy story that his death and things aren't on this documentary, but it's just it's interesting to see his point of view from he obviously really cared about these animals, and he I think he definitely knew that he was doing something that was very dangerous, but I also feel like he kind of felt like he was just wasn't going to be hurt by these animals because he felt like he kind of knew them, they knew him.
Yes.
It's really interesting to see all the things he did and then just kind of learn more about him through other people that knew him. Yeah.
It's always fascinating to hear about people who have dedicated their lives
Right.
to these animals. There was Jane Goodall, and then recently I read an article about a gentleman who's done something similar in Alaska with his fascination with the snowy owl.
Oh.
Yeah, and these people, I mean, he takes his entire summer every year for the last 20 years to go up and check on owls. I mean, they dedicate their lives.
Yeah.
So fascinating.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I might have to check this one out too.
And then this is one of my favorite documentaries. I started watching this years ago, and I hadn't watched the whole thing, and so I was really excited that the library had it. So this is the Up series, and it started off as a just a one-time thing. It was just going to be a one-time thing in 1963 in England. A couple of documentary people went and they interviewed 7-year-olds. And they just talked to them about their lives and asked them about their families and what they did in school and, just the kind of things that you ask 7-year-olds.
Yeah.
And they were all different. I think there were 14 of them that they interviewed. And they're all from different backgrounds and different areas and things like that. And mostly around London. And then after that time, one of the people who was producing it decided that they wanted to continue it and do it every 7 years. So they have gone from age 7 to age 63 now.
Every 7 years?
Every 7 years.
With the same
people.
Oh, fascinating.
Yes, it's really neat to watch. So the first one is called 7 Up. The second one is called 7+7. It's the only one that doesn't really follow the name trend. But and then 21 Up, 28 Up, 35 Up, 42 Up, 49 Up, 56 Up, and that's what's on here. We have through 56 Up, but there is also a 63 Up that's on some streaming services. So
wow.
I watched that one too. It's really neat to just watch how these people have grown up and the opportunities they had or didn't have. They all come from different backgrounds, so they all have different things that they did, and the choices they made, and the different things that have happened to them. And it's really, really neat to watch, to see them come back every 7 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
And they were in England? Did they all stay in England?
No, they didn't. His family emigrated to Australia when he was still pretty young, but he still came back. Not everybody has come back every year. There was one guy, I think he only came till he was 21, and then he hasn't come back. And then there's some people who've kind of skipped a couple years and have come back later. And but a good percentage of them have continued to come back every year.
Wow.
And there was also one who came to America. I can't remember. I think it's Wisconsin where he lives. He's some kind of scientist, physicist, something, and he works at a university in the United States. And I think he's still here. So yeah.
Oh, very interesting. Yeah, documentaries.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't ever really like them when I was younger, but now I'm just super into them.
Right, and we have lots, and it is surprising sometimes that DVDs are probably more checked out than books. I'm looking off camera here at some people, and they're nodding. Yeah, there's a lot of DVDs that we have that you can check out. They're big. Popular items, and these are some of them. The Up series, that's fascinating. Yes. I had not heard about that.
It's really cool. And the really cool thing too is these people are like the same age as my parents. So it's kind of neat to see them grow up, because it's kind of just reminds me of like where my parents were at that time too. So
Wow.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I hope that they do another one at 70 Up, but I don't know if they will, because the director has died. Oh, so okay. I did read something where a lot of the people who have been coming back, the people that they talked to, have said that they are open to coming back if some of the other people who were involved are the ones who kind of direct it.
Find a new person to take the lead on directing. Yeah. That's great. Awesome. Well, fun stuff. Thank you for sharing all of those. And check out the documentary section.
So many.
Yes.
So many documentaries. All kinds of different subjects.
I like documentaries. But then I'm a very nonfiction type person a lot of times anyway. So interesting to know that there is more for me at the library to check out. Yes. All right. Thank you, Andrea.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here today and co-hosting with me. And we have another podcast coming up next week. And until then, have a great one. We'll see you then.